You're listening to the Complex Action Actual Play podcast. If you're interested in sponsoring an episode, then head on over to complexaction.net and click on the support link to find out how. The Halloweeners have been dispatched, and we pick up with the team brushing off the one survivor that they left behind. After finding Vesper, the operative that they're looking for, they get some very disturbing information about what she was doing out there, and a plea for help. Now please enjoy episode 21, They're Not Dogs, Leeroy. Alright, so he's healed up a little bit, he's grateful, and you guys are there. What are you guys doing now?
Oh, I'm going to take his comlink. Rather, right. I'm going to tell him, give me your comlink.
He hands it to you, no question. It's a little metal link.
Okay, I put it in my pocket and say, alright, now get out of here.
He does his best, but he's on his way.
I'm going to walk over to Throwback and toss the comlink to him. Don't know if you can pull anything off this, or, we can always use another burner comm.
Yeah, kind of looks at it as it falls in my lap. Kind of just shrug. So, take a look.
I wouldn't mind having his contact list too.
Alright. I'll jack into it. I don't know if I need to actually roll out cracking it or not.
Nah. Let's just... It's a little wimpy metal ink. I'm sure you got it.
Anything? Actually, I'll just go ahead and unlock it, and then I'll just sort of offer it up to Ulrich. Say, she's all yours.
Whiz. Thanks. I'll put it in my pocket. I'll check it out again later.
So this entrance, was it more of like a hole or a doorway? I didn't quite catch it.
It was at one time a doorway into the building that is collapsed, but I mean it's probably, I mean it's a ruined building inside of it, so it's kind of more like a cave.
How big is this entrance? I imagine it must be small since we kind of missed it in the first place.
Well, I wouldn't say you missed it. I told you guys about it, but it was right at the end of the session last time. It's not small. I mean, it's a little bit smaller. So if some bigger people would have to probably crouch a little bit, just because it's not standing as well anymore. There's debris in front of it and all this kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna try to get Danny to let me get at that bruise with my med kit.
Yep.
What?
Yeah, surely.
Okay. Yeah, I think I got some ointments for that stuff.
I'm gonna end up leaving Silverback up here, along with one of the fly spies. I'll be taking one fly spy with me.
Not bad. I patched up 2 boxes.
Sweet.
Is this a hole that I can get
box.
down? Oh, sorry.
No, never mind. The medkit lets me heal more.
All right. So what's your plan here with the doorway, or?
Is it a doorway that I can get through as well?
Yeah, you could get through there. It's liable to make anybody nervous just in general. It's an old building that's been falling apart, for a decade or more. But
maybe we just lean in and shout, see if she'll come out. She could probably hear us
if she's still conscious.
That was very optimistic.
Hey, Leeroy, drink this. I toss you a potion. It's a little 1 ounce vial.
There's a raised eyebrow underneath the helmet you can't really see.
A snort line Nova Coke.
Jeez.
What do you snort it off of? Just crack it, put it right there on the ground, dirt Nova Coke. Great.
No, I've done this enough times. I imagine at this point I got that fancy little spoon.
We're gonna have a drug off.
I'm gonna start basically firing off alchemical operations. I can do 1 per combat room. So I'll be busy for a little while, counting the first aid and everything I'm doing. Probably for a good minute or so. Throwback, you get an armor spell.
Do I roll it or do you?
I just rolled it. It's 2 points for you.
Okay.
So while you're doing that, what kind of gun did I take off of this guy?
It's a Browning Ultra Power.
It's a classic.
Not bad. Let's see. Pillar, you're going to get an armor spell as well. And that thing that's on your back is still glowing. You get 3 points of armor from the armor spell. Leeroy, do you drink the potion?
Yeah, probably. It'll take him a second, though. He's got to get his helmet off.
It's 3 hits on a combat sense.
Ooh.
Let's see, and then Elric is going to trigger the rest on himself.
So yeah, if nobody stops him, Throwback will just sort of raise his voice inside the doorway and just sort of yell out for Vesper. We were sent here to help. You with us?
Yeah, you're not going to get an answer. So you've either got, somebody can go in there. You've got a fly spy, so you could do that.
That was what I was gonna go for. I was gonna fly that sucker in.
Pillar will just follow kind of behind the fly spy, giving it a good lead.
Sure, yeah. Well, you fly in there with the fly spy and give me a perception test.
Sure, I might as well be jumped in anyway, so.
It's pretty dark in there. There's no, lights or anything, and so you're gonna get a -3 to any perception.
Sure, I am using sensors for this, of course, though.
Okay.
5 hits.
Well, the area in there is not terribly big. A lot of the pathways and hallways and doorways and everything have been blocked off and whatnot. But moving around with the fly spy, you do notice before too long that not too far in is a person who is lying on the ground. It's an orc woman who looks pretty bad, looks pretty rough, and she's lying partially concealed by some stuff and lying down on the ground. She appears to be unconscious, like her eyes are closed and everything, and she's lying under a piece of cloth and up against some stuff, obviously to try to conceal herself.
You got her, Pillar. We've found her.
That's it that way. If I get to her, I'll pick her up.
All right, when you reach for her, make a defense test. Melee defense.
5 hits.
Oh, you barely... Okay, so as you approach her and go to pick her up, she just leaps out from under where she was, and she has something in her hand, and she goes to attack you and misses, and then as she comes past you, and as she spins around, she kind of it almost looks like, that was the last bit of juice that she had, because then she collapses and seems to be unconscious.
More cautiously try to pick her up.
Wait. I start coming up and dragging along my backpack med kit.
Pull her out of that building, but first, it could come down at any point.
And we don't know if those guys are going to be back. Maybe with more friends. I say we do this in the car.
Okay, just be careful moving her.
I'll take a quick look around, see if there's any of her belongings that are stashed anywhere or something.
Let me use a levitate spell. It'll be the most gentle way to move her.
It doesn't look like she had anything. Leeroy can't see anything. She, whatever she was hiding under, looks like it was probably had been there for a really long time. Like she just makeshift covered herself. In fact, the thing that she has in her hand that she tried to attack with is like a small piece of what looks like a piece of steel or scrap metal or something that was probably found there that's been rubbed into into a point at the end, like against some concrete or something for a long time until it made somewhat of a point.
4 hits, force 4 levitate.
Okay.
This rubber head, as suddenly this person starts flying out of her arms. Like, kid, it's not hard for me to carry her, man. Gotta magic everything.
Trying to keep her stable.
As you start getting her closer to the entrance of there, to the light, you see that maybe there's something to the stable thing. She looks pretty rough. She's got a lot of blood all over her. Her clothes, she's not wearing hardly anything. It's just rags, and they're all tattered and scraped, and she's dirty, and she's got scratches and scrapes all over. It looks like she might have been beat and whipped, and she's an orc woman, and she's actively bleeding from her face. It looks like one of her tusks is gone, and there's like a bloody hole where it once was. And yeah.
Oh, Frank, we gotta get a med kit on her fast. Come on, let's move. And I'm moving her as fast as I can, which is 4 meters per combat turn, so a slow walking speed.
Just flings her through the air.
All right. Well, you guys
I'll kind of put her
get
beside
her there, yeah.
So she doesn't drown in her own blood.
So you get her to you taking her to your vehicles.
I forget. Do we have a van?
Yeah. Well, we have a big SUV. Throwback's big SUV. I already had one body in it today, so.
Okay, yeah, I'll make room for her in there and levitate her in, and as soon as I can, I'm going to break out the med kit and do first aid.
Okay.
I would just heal up one box, or stabilizer if necessary.
It's not necessary to stabilize her. She's mostly unconscious. She's hurting pretty bad, yeah, and you're able to help her out with that a little bit. Stop the bleeding in her face, and whatnot.
All right, last preparation I've got, I'm going to slap her with a healing one. It's a little module that sends out these little tendrils that go under the skin and start to pulse with magical energy. Does she have any essence loss?
Yes.
How many points?
3.
How much of a penalty?
She has 2.5 essence. I don't know how much of a penalty that is off the top of my head. I can't remember. It's just straight 4.
That'd be minus 4 dice. So yeah, the otherwise fairly potent healing magic only heals one more box.
Okay.
The rest is going to take time.
All right. Well, it definitely helps, and during this process she wakes up, and when she wakes up, she kind of like blinks really slowly and hard and looks around and says, Are you the ones that Gentleman G sent?
That's a pretty open-ended question. That could be anybody, and I just say yes. But yeah.
Kid. Yeah, we are.
She says, "Oh,
Are you
man."
Vesper?
She kind of looks around and, again, and decides, I guess, internally that she's going to have to trust you guys. And she says, yeah, Vesper. And she's,
all right.
Recovering and sitting up.
All right. Talk to Pillar. And I kind of step back and out of the way. I don't think she's going to attack you this time. Just don't try to grab her, okay?
All right. Yeah, Gentleman Grump sent us. Be all right.
She says, she kind of rubs her head and she looks around and she says, I can't go back yet.
What's up?
There's something I have to take care of. She's obviously looking very much like she's trying to figure out how much to say. And she says, you guys were sent out here to find me. You're being paid to bring me back, right?
Out of character, are we? I didn't write that down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, you can trust me. Like, whatever you say, just we're good lot.
Yeah, I'll back you up and try to help you with a little teamwork.
I got this trustworthy face.
I'll step up by saying, hey, and Gentleman G wouldn't want us to just bring you back without the mission done, right? And I give you one extra hit, or one extra die.
Yeah, give me just like a regular sort of old etiquette test with
I have negotiations and diplomacy, if that helps.
Yeah, that might be more appropriate. And give yourself a +2.
Oh, this is etiquette?
I already get a +1 if I count my trustworthy quality.
Well, you can better actually have that skill. I got one more hit to help you out with.
Yeah, give yourself an extra +2 because you guys have helped her out and she's your friendly situation with her.
Perfect.
Okay, one more even, so you get 3 dice from me.
I've got 17 before that, so I think we're good. It says my 7 hits. I keep all of them. My social limit is 10.
All right, perfect. She takes a deep breath and she says, I definitely appreciate that you guys have a job to do, and I don't want to get in the way. But I was out there to accomplish a task, and I might need your help.
We could do that. What's up?
She says,
I already made my test. We're here to help.
She says, she looks kind of like a little more serious. If you were to assess her, you'd notice she's probably, a lot of the damage, quote unquote, is more that she needs to shake off, and she's doing pretty well physically. But she's just trying to catch her bearings from everything. It looks like she's suffering from a lot of fatigue, like maybe she's come a long way. But she says, I was out looking for something, and do you know who the Knights of the Confederacy are?
What do we roll to that?
I have cast criminal law. Is that helpful?
I have a history knowledge skill. Or Columbia area knowledge.
Yeah, I have history of Columbia.
History of Columbia or history might help. Also, if you have any kind of underworld knowledge,
criminal habits?
Not criminal habits. That probably wouldn't work.
Jeez, I got 6 hits on 8 dice for my history knowledge skill. This would be like an academic history knowledge skill.
Yeah, I only got 2.
So I probably don't know anything about their criminal stuff, but whatever historical background they have.
Yeah. So, Elric, you've heard of them. What you know about them from your academic pursuits is that they were kind of an offshoot of. Well, they're kind of like a terrorist arm of the Humanist Poly Club, except, that's what's suspected and whatnot. They've been implicated in a lot of terrorist goings-ons that that Humanist has denied being involved in, and it's nobody really knows who they are. They're hard to pin down and whatnot, but it's suspected that they're involved in a lot of the really violent things that have happened in Columbia's past, in terms of metahumans and whatnot.
Okay. Does anybody else's perspective?
No,
They're different.
They're not really. Payday, you've probably heard of them, and all Payday has probably heard of is that they're a bunch of racist terrorist dickheads.
There we go.
Yeah, real bad guys.
The Knights of the Confederacy. She says, "Yeah, bad guys is, understating it a little bit. They're a bunch of angry racists who think that people like me and you," she nods to Pillar, "are a mongrel race that don't belong here in Columbia or anywhere really. Anyway, long story short, I was out here looking for." Investigating an alleged camp of theirs that is supposed to be beyond the wall, and I found it. She's having trouble talking a little bit. You can tell that she's in a lot of pain. I mean, one of her tusks is missing, and it looks to be recent. She said, I found their camp, and my job was just to do recon on the outside, collect some information, but I got found out. They captured me, interrogated me, and put me in a room, did a lot of mean things to me, and I managed to get out. But there's other people in there. There's other orcs in there, and we need to get them out.
Yeah,
While she's talking, at the notion of having been escaped, Throwback does a matrix perception. I got 7 hits, looking for any silently running tags or anything that might look like a tracer.
Smart. You don't notice anything though.
Okay. You just kind of see a sigh of relief on Throwback's face.
She says, "There's a whole camp of them in there. It's a smallish camp, but they've got it's got to be 5 or 6 orcs in there, held captive, doing fragging terrible things to them, worse than what they did to me, and we've got to get them out of there."
I can do that. I've got a lot of friends who like to do violent things. Just tell us right where they're at.
Mind if we have a conversation first?
Not stopping me.
She looks at Payday and says, "Be my guest," and she kind of her back is hurting, and she stretches and leans back.
Yeah, Elric will walk over by Payday.
Yeah, I want to have it outside of her hearing range.
I mean, we have a DNI, so her hearing range as a probably not technomancer is pretty minimal.
Yeah, I was doing it old school. It ain't the job.
Then you can stay here. She probably needs somebody to drive her back.
Are you kidding me? We're gonna get involved?
Yeah, if we're gonna get involved, we're gonna need your fire support.
I thought you were the one to do all the fire.
Well, bullets count like that too.
You heard her. She said that Gentleman G is not going to be happy to see her if her job's not done.
That's her problem, not ours. We're professionals, right? We do our job, not her job.
But she needs help.
And
maybe there's some money to be made if we do it for her.
And we can help her, and then we can get more money out of Gentleman G at the other end, right?
We didn't negotiate that. Maybe if we negotiate something with her, but...
We don't need to negotiate anything. If you don't want to come, don't come, man. Some things aren't worth money. They're just important to do them anyway.
Yeah, but, what should we getting paid for this?
Hey, I'm a dwarf, too. But I'm not going to be able to go and right every wrong here.
No, but we can right this wrong.
and another wrong pops up afterwards.
Like I said, buddy, you don't have to come. I don't know why it's a struggle. Stay out here, guard the girl, we'll go do this thing, we'll come back and get you afterwards.
Because you're my team.
Well, then quit
Come on,
bitching
man.
and let's go.
We need you. How about this? Take half my cut.
I don't want your money. That's not the job. Leeroy, what do you say? Am I the only one here?
So that was a quick question. Do we have Mr. G's phone number?
Yeah. Pillar does.
I mean, if I have his number, I would just call him.
You want to let these humanist dreckheads go?
Let's see what the Johnson has to say. That's what I say.
You got a point.
I don't see any reason why he shouldn't be contacted. This is his money after all.
Yeah, if we're
And
gonna
who
go above and
knows?
beyond.
He might not want her to go back. He might not want anybody to go back. He might have other plans in the works.
Yeah, here you go, kid. That's the number. Go and call.
But I'm telling you this, Leeroy, Payday, I'm doing this whether they agree to pay extra or not.
I just roll my eyes underneath my helmet.
All right. Well, if someone calls Gentleman G, he answers and he says, Gentleman G here, you found what we're looking for?
Mostly.
Explain.
We found the who, but the who has told us that the what that they were supposed to be doing isn't quite done.
I mean, her job was, well, that's not important for you. She there was nothing in particular that she was, is she there?
Yeah. I will patch a three-way if that's cool with her.
Sure.
I will patch her in.
She explains what she explained to you guys, to him, and he says, that's concerning. And he says, you look like you're probably not in the best of condition. And she says, I'm going out there. I'm not letting these guys go I'm going with whomever, whether they want to go or not. I'm going in there. I'm going to find those people. I'm going to get them out of there, and I'm going to kill that fragger that is doing all this to them. And they kind of have a back and forth. It's clear that she didn't have her assignment, so to speak, was just to collect data. She wasn't, so there's no issue there. It's just that she wants to go back in, and he more or less tells her that, yeah, you can go in if you want to, but I'm concerned about your health and everything, and whether or not you're going to go in there prepared to do whatever it is that you want to do.
So
but you do what you got to do.
I'm going to send him a text message like, if you still want her brought back and not going out there, that is what we agreed upon. It's something we still do.
Well, he says to you, she's not, she can operate independently and of her own free will. She's not like beholden in any kind of capacity that you might be implying. She can do what she wants.
I'm just saying you hired us to bring her back, and I want to make sure that if she goes off, that's not going to invalidate our agreement.
No, understood. You guys have, as far as I can tell, you guys have done what needs to be done. We needed her located, and we needed her safe. And it seems that you've done that.
I shoot Payday a thumbs up emoji.
All right.
As she's important to you and she wants to go back in, what's your thought process on additional support?
He says, that's going to take some thought. If what she says is true, and there's some people in there that need helping, and that concerns me. It would concern any of us here in my organization. She's definitely right. Something needs to be done. I'm not exactly sure that I'm prepared to promise anything just yet, except if you're able to find people, we could have a long-term relationship, and we are not the worst allies to have, if you catch my drift.
So I'll turn from him and I'll kind of talk back to the rest of the group. And how do you guys feel about future favors?
Favors are a good commodity to have. Hell, I just needed any real reason. I wasn't just doing this because I had a big heart, which I don't have.
Elric just gets a broad grin and slaps Payday on the back, which probably doesn't budge him at all.
Not really.
I knew there was more to you than money.
Eon looks very happy, very pleased. And I can't let you get in there and get shot up and inevitably die, because that's what would happen.
All right, then.
So let's do it.
All right, can I get a couple hours?
She says,
I'd like to prepare some things and try to recover a bit.
truth be told, I could use some rest as well. I don't suppose it's going to benefit anybody, them or us, if we just go in half-cocked and not at our best. So, but time is, not exactly on our side. I don't know how long I want them to stay there.
All right, let's go back to my place. We can plan things from there, and I can do my work better.
Besides, since we're getting into this now, we're going to have a little bit of a longer conversation in regards to who exactly we're dealing with. We know what they're about, but you said him.
Well, yeah, at your mention of him, her eyes kind of narrow a little bit, and she doesn't say anything, but you can tell that the thought of this, whomever, really angers or upsets her.
What time is it by the time we get back to my place?
I'd say it's probably about 4 or 5 in the afternoon.
All right, I'm going to ask my spirit to guard us while we're in my home, and I'm going to get to work on some alchemy and then take a nap. There's plenty of chips and microwave burritos and stuff. Make yourselves at home. I got some extra beanbag chairs over there if anybody needs to take a nap or something.
Payday will help himself to his burritos.
Yeah, there's burritos. I'll have a burrito. This is pretty weird, but hey, free burrito.
It's your standard cheap stuff for shack fare.
So it's obvious what you went through when you were in there. I say I'm heating up a burrito.
She says, I don't know that it's obvious.
Yeah,
Well, why don't you tell us?
I'm not in any kind of a hurry to relive it.
We get it. Tell us about him. Who we killing?
She kind of hunches forward and wherever she's sitting and says, you can't understand what happened. When I first got there, I thought I was, this is just standard whatever. They're being taken by the enemy, so to speak, and they're going to interrogate me. They're going to torture me. They're going to do whatever the frag they do to orcs. I dealt with stuff like that before. So I was ready for that. But the person in charge there at this camp, they call him the Hound Master. He's, I guess, the idea is he's got this kennel or a bunch of hounds, so to speak, and he trains them and makes them vicious and violent and whatnot. But well, let's just say I'm sitting there in this room with there's this other person, this other woman, an orc there. She'd obviously been, gone through similar stuff that I had, and she'd already been in that state by the time I got there, barely conscious. Well, I wasn't giving him anything, and then this guy comes in, the Hound Master, the leader of head guy, whatever. They were fed up with me not giving them anything, and he comes in with a leash and something on at the end of this leash, and well, it was an orc. It was another woman. It was, but it wasn't. She was like feral. He made her into. And that's what he does. And she starts to get really upset.
Kind of thought that's where you were going with that.
And she says, and I don't know what he was trying to prove something to me or what, but then the fragger leaves us in the room alone with this person, and it attacks us, and I barely made it out of there alive. And I don't know if the other person there was, I don't know, but I don't care what he thinks he's done to these people, but they're still people, and I've got to help them.
I'll be right back.
I take a big bite out of my burrito.
So Elric went into another room where his magical lodges and closed the door, got to work, and about 8 minutes later fell asleep from drain.
Okay.
He's not going to come out for about 4 hours after that unless someone actually comes in and wakes him up. That's how long it takes him to sleep off his stun.
Does Elric still have that cheap beer around?
Probably, yeah. There's probably some left from the party. He doesn't really drink it normally.
Well, she's taken some, and she now leans back after telling her story and starts nursing it.
Payday and Payday sits down on one side of wherever Pillar is sitting, and Eon on the other. All right, you were right.
Yeah. I normally, I forgot
Yeah.
Pillar is on Nova Cake and probably really jittery. Does not have an easy time sitting still.
Payday's the opposite because he's still on downers. So how many of them?
She takes a deep breath. She kind of like collects herself, realizing, okay, there is some real work that needs to be done here. She says the camp is it's relatively small, but there's people there. It's if I recall correctly, there were 4 buildings. One of them is the kennel, I guess it's called. She seems to be struggling with that word. She doesn't like thinking of these people as animals that he's created. And he says, or she says, but there's some living quarters. I watched the place for a while, and there's 2 buildings that it looked like were, I guess you could call them barracks. They seem to live there, but it's almost like a hidden camp that they use to do their thing. So it's almost like it seems like they operate it like a military soldier camp,
Yeah, I got it.
So there's these two buildings that I guess seemed like bunkers or barracks. The Houndmaster himself, he's got his own living space, his own building. And then there's another place where they make food. So it's not incredibly big, but in my counting while I was doing recon, I counted at least 12 people, not including him. There could be more, and then of course we'd have to deal with these orcs, and we cannot. I don't care how much they attack us in their brainwashed state. We cannot kill them.
Non-lethal, I got it.
I could care fragging less what happens to the rest of the fraggers.
All right.
These are not. I don't know how much you know about the Knights of the Confederacy, but this is what we, the non-public side of the Troll Benevolent Society, the part that, you can't go telling people about. This is what we do. We've been trying to track these guys down in their various camps and forms and wherever they are and what they're doing, and we try to follow them. We try to keep tabs on them and try to guess their next move and prevent them from doing the things that they do to people like you and me. And he says that to in particular Payday and but definitely Pillar. She's whenever she references metahumans, she's always like saying you and whatever. She's talking to Pillar, gesturing to her.
Anything else you can think of that might be a problem?
They're not exactly lightly armed and armored there. They're a group that's ready to do what needs to be done whenever whoever sends down commands from wherever that comes from. So they're definitely well armed there.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy. My job was not to get in there and interact with them at all. I was just supposed to observe and bring information back, and it's not going to be easy.
Now it's going to be a war.
Obviously, I guess the best thing to do, if it was even possible, and I don't know how possible it's going to be, but obviously getting in and out of there without being noticed would be great. But I don't think these orcs are going to come willingly.
Why not?
They've been brainwashed, man. They're animal. She struggles again with saying it, but she says he's made them think that they're animals, and that's how they act. They nearly killed me, and probably killed that other orc that was in that interrogation whatever with me.
All right, so we play it cool. We get them out secured, and we deal with undoing whatever mojo he did to their brains. Piece of cake.
How many people did they say was there?
About a dozen.
All right, I'm doing some shopping.
Amazon?
Well, probably not. I don't think I can get the things I'm looking to purchase from Amazon.
Maybe we should go ahead and collect our payday from Gentleman G. We might need it.
No, she's already indicated that she doesn't want there to be, a lot of. She doesn't want to wait a long time. rest up and she wants to get going. Now, that's not to say you couldn't formulate some other plan or talk her out of it or whatever, but she's already indicated that, she's talking, hours, not days.
Yeah, I mean, I think we do this tonight before anybody else gets hurt, right?
I'd like to do this now before I pass out.
But that brother of yours is nowhere to be seen. We can get him and go.
Go look for him, but I guess I really can't do anything for him until he wakes up from his dream. He's got to recover that naturally. So
you find him in a familiar state.
Eye rolls when I go in the room.
He's got whatever implements he uses to do the things that he does strewn around him, and he's unconscious.
Yeah, it looks like another one of those thingies that I stuck on your back before. It kind of fell off on its own a few minutes after it powered up.
Guess the fight really takes it out of that one, huh?
He's a fragile boy.
I guess he won't mind if I help myself to another burrito.
After you guys are hanging out for probably just as Elric is becoming conscious or whatever, you guys get a knock at Elric's door.
I'll go open it.
Gentleman G is at the door. And he says, "I'm sorry, I probably should have let you guys know that I was coming here. It didn't occur to me until now that you may have, been suspicious. May I come in?"
Yeah, of course. Just eating burritos.
He comes in and first thing he does is check to make sure that Vesper is okay and talks to her for a minute. And she kind of relays some information to him, and they're talking quietly for a little while. And he's with another person who's a troll as well, kind of a bigger, bulkier guy. Gentleman G himself is not the biggest troll you've seen. He's a very attractive, for a troll, and he's a nice looking guy, and it's no mistake that he was made the face of this organization. But after he talks for a little bit, he says, to I guess Pillar, he says, now that I've gotten all the information here from Vesper, it really seems like something needs to be done about this. It's a puzzling situation. We normally try to operate in more discreet terms, but this is this is a unique circumstance.
Sure. Well, don't worry, man. As soon as we wake up from our naps and get our burritos we'll get taken care of. You think you can deal with these people after we get them out?
Yeah, absolutely. So I definitely want to, more formally ask if you guys, it seems that you're willing to help, and I'm incredibly gracious of that. By the way, since we're talking about it, he goes ahead and gives you guys your payment for the job you just completed. And he says, if you're willing to help out here, yes, if you can get them to me, contact me. Once you've pulled them out, I can have accommodations ready to, help them in whatever way that we can. And he's obviously struggling just as well because, he's just heard the story that was told by her when he just got there. And he says, I don't know how much we'll be able to, but I'd like to tell you that in whatever way that we can find to, I would like to do what we can to compensate you for doing this, for helping us in this regard.
So, out of character, wasn't this the action group that got helped get Pillar adopted? Or is that something else?
That's something else.
No, this is not them.
Okay.
You're thinking of the Families for Metahumans.
Okay. Yep. Never mind.
This organization is a very, very much an activist, a very outward and attempts to be very public activist organization that tries to do social and political activism to help orcs and trolls in particular, but metahumans in general.
Popular people around these parts.
Yeah, they definitely are fighting an uphill battle. But they've been in the news before. They've made some little headway here and there, but they pride themselves in fighting the good fight. But yeah, he's definitely said that he's going to try to find whatever way he can, whatever he can to compensate you for helping. He's very grateful that you've already agreed to help.
Are we doing this tonight? I'm saying that in character.
Yep. Let's
All
do
right,
this in
give
the
me a
next
few-
few hours.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a few more minutes, cook up a few more things. I was interrupted by my drain. It was very draining. Anyway, sorry about that, but yeah, magic can take a lot of these sometimes.
It's all right. Just bring
So
it in again. We got work to do.
I was actually going out and actually shopping.
Okay. What were you looking for?
So I'm going to get like 2 jerry cans of gas.
Sure.
Second thing I want is a couple of dog treats. Like, did they give a number on how many dogs were there?
Not actual dogs, right?
No, they're not. Yeah, of course they're not actual dogs. They're orcs. But she said that 4 or 5.
4 or 5 like actual dogs.
No, there are no actual dogs.
Okay.
They're
Doesn't
orcs.
matter. I'm getting dog treats anyway. I'm not taking the chance after last time.
You just misheard.
There's a kennel.
Prepare for the dogs.
Look, I thought
Houndmaster.
I thought
getting
there
ready.
were actual dogs.
I mean, if they think they're dogs, maybe they'll go nuts over some jerky. It's basically the same thing, right?
Today
So-
on Meta Human Rights News,
It's all
Elf
made
feeds
with
orc dogs.
it's all made with soy
Master
anyway.
is not the worst in this situation. That's so weird.
Then I want to get some Narco Jet.
Hey, do we know that you're out shopping?
I mean, earlier when I said I'll be right back, then Leeroy was actually like, "I'll be right back," and left.
All right. Well, Elric's just going to send out a group message to Radine and I when he's between making concoctions, and ask if anybody can potentially pick him up some stim patches, and I'll
Sure.
pay you back for him. Also, if it's easy to get, if you could maybe get one of those electric zappy glove things they make.
Shock gloves?
Yeah, that's it.
Bobby, is that something I can just easily get?
It should. It's kind of like after 6 and 7 on a Sunday. Do you know somebody?
Maybe.
I just checked. Shock glove non-essential, but would be nice.
So I know a mechanic gunsmith armorer. That's probably my best bet for something that's like an actual weapon. The other stuff I can just pick up pretty easy, except for the Narco Jet, which I think it's like 8.
It's 8R.
I want to. My plan is to get something that I can soak these dog treats in that will knock them out.
There's no dogs.
I'm
Doesn't
feeding
wanna
the
do
orcs
it.
the dog treats. Like it's fine.
Leroy
Well-
totally misinterpreted it, and it's going to be an amazing. Just let it happen.
Yeah, and strangely enough, it will probably still be an effective solution.
Alright, well, I don't want to get rid of the fun shopping trip. I gotta
They're
take off
very-
early tonight. I think it sounds like we're gonna do prep work for an excursion. So I duck out now if that's cool.
Yeah, that's fine. I think we're gonna be talking about some prep and probably wrapping it up.
Cool.
Sure,
Yeah.
If you guys want, I can come up with a shopping list during the week because those were the main things I wanted to purchase. But I'm sure there's some other interesting, neat stuff I could come up with.
How much money do we get paid, and do we get karma for that run, or is it still part of the same thing?
Yeah, you're definitely gonna get karma. Let me pull up that stuff.
Yeah, and just by the sounds of it, we have essentially a few hours of prep before we're off and actually doing this thing. So
I mean, it's not going to be that big of a deal. I got bombs.
Shock gloves are 6R, so they're probably pretty easy to get a hold of.
by anybody who knows illegal people.
I figure that's a good one for Elric to use if he's going to use unarmed combat at all, because his strength doesn't matter.
Don't use unarmed combat.
All right, you guys got 5,000 new yen each, if my notes are correct.
That sounds like it's right.
Yeah, I don't think we negotiated up on this one.
Damn bleeding
No, we
hearts.
specifically did not.
And my notes are a mess right now. That's why I'm looking at your karma. You got 6.
Almost to a third point of edge.
Yeah, you're just gonna have a couple of hours. That's why that's the only reason that it might be a little challenging to get something in time. But you know what? You know someone. I'm sure you can find it. Let's just say that guy, the armor guy, he can get you that stuff.
The chlorohydrate is a little bit easier to find, and it's basically a roofie.
You can find it. Because it's. Let's just say for the narco jack, you could get that at double the price, 100 new yen.
I actually think that's injection only. Let me check.
I
Yeah.
believe you're right.
Yeah, it's injection only anyway. So I'll need to get the chlorohydrate anyway because it's ingestion, not injection.
Besides, you know a guy for that stuff anyway. I believe the DMC runs drugs.
And I can slip all those dogs a Mickey.
Yeah, you can get that.
All right. And I assume it's pretty easy that I can find some other alcohol or mixed medication because its power goes up from 12 to 15 if I mix it with alcohol or another medication that causes drowsiness.
Sure, I mean, you can find alcohol.
Done. So I'm gonna come back at some point with a 6-pack of Soy Wiser, a bunch of roofies, a bucket, and some dog treats. Or probably actually, given as I'm planning on mixing in a bunch of liquid stuff, it would probably be like the wet, mushy dog food.
Sure.
And a bucket.
Payday just looks at him and goes, "You are a metahuman rights nightmare."
And Elric, who missed most of the briefing because he was napping, looks up and goes, "What?"
No, it's fine.
Just gonna kind of shrug, shake my head at you, like, look, you don't want to kill him, I don't want to shoot him. Just give him I'll slip him a Mickey, and it'll be fine.
Hey, I'm with you.
Then why are you giving me so much dreck about it? Just
No.
You get the stim patches?
as long as Bobby says that I was able to get them, yeah.
Sure.
How many doses of the chloral hydrate could I get? Because I'll just get a bunch, because you never know when you need roofies.
I mean, you can get a short notice on a Sunday night. The guy could get you 10 or 15.
I'll take 15. That's fine.
And were you able to get up to 10 rating 6 stim patches?
Whatever Bobby can say, I can get.
Yeah, that's fine.
Is there anything else interesting and neat and dumb that I would want to pick up? Like, they're not actually dogs, so I'm not going to get a dog whistle. Although maybe we'll get one of them anyway.
Anything beyond that is probably going to take you a little bit more time than you have.
Okay, just because it's like I can go down to the local gas station, get two jerry cans. I could probably also get the beer and the dog treats there.
Thanks so much for listening to the show. We hope you enjoyed it. This show would not be possible without the generous support of our patrons over at Patreon. If you like the show and you want to help support it, then head on over to patreon.com/complexaction. Supporting the show this way can get you access to GM notes that I post every month, and even the ability to vote on the direction that the story could take. Now check that out at patreon.com/complexaction. There were several NPCs and organizations which were provided by patrons of Complex Action, and those in this episode were Gentleman G and his Troll Benevolent Society, provided by Eric L. Thank you for your support. The character art seen on our YouTube page and various social media places was done by Ethan Brewerton. Check out his awesome Shadowrun artwork at esbrewerton.tumblr.com. The background music in this episode is brought to you by Prism Shard. To hear more of his Shadowrun-inspired music, head on over to soundcloud.com/prism-shard and give him some love. The Topps Company Inc. has sole ownership of the names, logo, artwork, marks, photographs, sounds, audio, video, and or any proprietary material used in connection with the game Shadowrun. The Topps Company Inc. has granted permission to Complex Action to use such names, logos, artwork, marks, and or any proprietary materials for promotional and informational purposes on its websites, but does not endorse and is not affiliated with Complex Action in any official capacity whatsoever.